I'm Chevy, and today let's discuss board game jobs. Hello, friends. Welcome to the shed. How are you? It's Thursday. Last night was game night for me, and I played a single game. Empire's Age of Discovery is a board game that used to be Age of Empires 3, the Age of Discovery, or something like that, and they dropped the licensed title and just renamed it, essentially. Most of the rest of the game stayed the same, and it really has nothing to do at all with Age of Empires. It's just a board game. We played with 6 people, and it took 3.5 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. 6 to 10, yeah. And I loved it. Boy, did I love it. And I don't normally play long games like that. That's not my style. But I really had fun. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about game jobs. Jobs in the gaming industry. Because that's a question that gets asked a lot. How do I get a job in the games industry? How do I get a job here? I want to get a job doing game stuff. The answer is extremely convoluted. Because our industry isn't... It's an extremely niche industry, right? Outside of very few companies like Hasbro, FFG, Asmodee, most of the publishing companies that you think of as a company are really just a group of friends working out of a ratty office somewhere making games, at least in the US. In other parts of the world, there are very large corporations making board games. But to go get a job in this industry, it's not something that you just do. Most of the time, companies in the US are 1 or 2, maybe 3, 4 people. And they're all friends that started a company together. They publish games for a few years and then they go away. And even some of the larger companies like Mayfair, that's how it started. Iron Crown Enterprises started in a shed in somebody's backyard. And that shed is still part of Mayfair. And there's no application process. There are companies like Fantasy Flight Games, like Tasty Minstrel put out a call for employees one time. There are companies that have put out calls for employees, and you do have the opportunity to apply. But unlike other industries where there is this set defined, like go do an internship here, and if you get offered the job, if not, you'll go here. Keep your resume updated on Monster. What's the current LinkedIn? Monster. Is Monster still a thing? Keep your resume updated, and then you'll get a job offer, and you'll move your way up the ladder. That doesn't exist in the board game industry. It is a group of passionate craftspeople. Imagine. Let me ask you the question like this: how do I get a job in the crafts industry? Because that's essentially what the board game industry. The crafts industry might actually even be bigger than the board game industry, and I'm not just saying that. So how do you get a job in any niche industry like that? Is you have to meet people, you have to put yourself out there continuously, and you can find, through the grapevine, somebody needs somebody to do something. That's how it works, essentially. Again, aside from the larger companies that do ask for applicants and that sort of thing and require you to move to their area for a very small wage. I think the last time I saw FFG posting, it was for a LCG line manager or line designer, and the base salary was $27,000. So you're not going to make money. You have to accept that. But the easiest way, if you want to get a job in the industry, is to publish a game. I say the easiest way because anybody can publish a game. You got 10 to 40 grand laying around to drop in a print run, you can publish a game. And now you have a job in the games industry, because now you have to try and sell those games. In order to sell those games, you have to buy booth space at shows. You have to send review copies. You're going to have to spend between $10,000 and $20,000 just to market the product, to get it on shelves. And it's going to be a large uphill battle that you'll probably not succeed at and end up losing money, and it'll be awesome. I promise you. Starting a board game publishing company is the best way to lose money. You'll have a blast doing it, but you won't make money. It's so rare. I'm not saying you won't. I don't want to poop on anybody's dreams. I don't want to just say that it's a stupid idea, don't do it. It's not a stupid idea. Do it. Just accept the fact that you have an extremely small chance of success. Very, very, very few board games sell more than a few thousand copies. And when they do, they usually have large marketing teams behind them, because the companies publishing those games are extremely successful. You can have Kickstarter success. You will probably lose money on Kickstarter. Very few companies turn profit on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is their marketing tool to get their games into retail, which is when they start making profit. Even when you see multi-million-dollar Kickstarters, they probably lost money, or if they made money, it wasn't a whole lot, except for Exploding Kittens. Those guys made $1 bazillion. So that's the easiest way. Start a company. It's also the most expensive way. But I'm going to say the best place to start is volunteering at shows, volunteering at really anything you can volunteer at. Help edit rules, help write rules, help play test, help run booth spaces, help offer to do local game store demos for publishers. Meet people in the industry who will help you meet more people in the industry. It's when you go to a bar near a board game convention, chances are a lot of the people there are industry people. You might think they're just gamers, because we are. But we all meet up together at night and have meetings in bars and hang out and play games together, because we're a big family. We travel around the country together doing shows. We all know each other. So meeting one by volunteering for them, hanging out in their booth, maybe they invite you to dinner. While you're at dinner, you meet another one. Now you have a talking relationship with multiple publishers, and you put yourself out there and you find an opening, and you continue to pursue it. It is going to be very, very difficult for you to quit your current job and get a board game job. That's probably not going to happen. That's just the truth. You're going to have to spend the time to find a company that needs employees, for one. Most don't. And work your way towards a working relationship with that company. Most companies run on nepotism. That's just the facts. I'm sorry. In the U.S. I'm going to preface all this by saying in the U.S. Or I should have. It's not preface if I say it afterwards. I'm going to post-face all of this by saying in the U.S. Outside of this country, there's a lot of different ways to go about things. There's companies that are much more successful because they are in places that have very strong board game markets. Our board game market is strong, but it's also extremely distributed, like geographically, but also there's just a ton of companies flooding the market. Whereas in other areas, you might have 15 to 20 strong companies, like, take Germany, for instance. There are only X number of really big, strong publishers. There's still a ton of smaller publishers, but you would go after one of these 10. It really doesn't exist in the U.S. So good luck. I don't want to discourage you. I want to encourage you. Go out, try it, do it, see what happens. Yeah. So I've told my story before. I'm not going to tell it again right now. We'll wait a month and I'll tell it again. But for you, volunteering is the best way to do it. And guess what? Coming up in a month is Gen Con Indianapolis. And every publisher there will need help. Start contacting the publishers that you think you would like to volunteer for and ask them if they need help. That's the best way to go about it. So until tomorrow, thank you guys for stopping by, liking, commenting, subscribing. Don't forget to share the video, share any of my episodes with all of your friends, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from livescience.com, and boy, is this one random. How many taste buds do catfish have? Did somebody Google that? Like, somebody asked that question? Is this like a biology class homework question? Catfish has taste buds not only in its mouth, but all over its body. Catfish, those beady-eyed fish named for their feline-like whiskers, typically have more than 100,000 taste buds. Some large catfish can have more than 175,000. Could you imagine if you had taste buds all over your body? The stuff that you would... Ugh, no. Yeah.